West Ham are willing to listen to offers for Declan Rice next summer. Basically, the reports are confirming West Ham are possibly actively looking to sell Declan Rice next summer. It's no surprise, is it? Let's first of all, let's deal with that. Is there a surprise here? Not really. Let's break it down. Let's remove the West Ham aspect of it. Club seeks to sell player with 2 years to go on his contract. It makes sense. After that, I think you start running down the value of Declan Rice. What could we get in summer 2023? 80, 100 million, somewhere around there. We left it till there was only a year to go on his contract. You're possibly looking at 50 million or something. It's a lot of money for the club to lose out on. And also, secondly, let's add the West Ham thing back in. As I discussed last week, there's a lot of players' contracts running out in the summer. There's almost another mini overhaul to be done. After spending 180 million this summer, do we have 100 million next summer? Do we have that much money? Or are we going to have to fund it? And if the answer is the latter, then Declan Rice is possibly the way to do that. Now, it depends on where you sit in regards to this news that's come out. It came out in Clarendon Hearings, confirmed by ex-West Ham employee, to what I consider reliable sources when it comes from information from the club. And this has come out, and it's no surprise that when it comes out as well, during the World Cup, West Ham aren't playing, so it sort of keeps Declan Rice from getting distracted whilst playing for West Ham, and so on and so forth. Saying that though, I don't think Declan's ever really got distracted by all the media talk. It's always been here. He's spoken before about how he wishes it wasn't, but it's part and parcel of the game, and it's going to continue. For as long as he's at West Ham, there's going to be links with Declan Rice leaving the London Stadium. Understandably so. Now, my personal opinion on this, while I wasn't surprised by the news that came out, I almost welcome it to some extent. The one thing I've been critical of West Ham over the years for is failure to sell players, panicking when a club shows a little bit of interest, when there's rumours linking Club A to one of our players that's currently in the starting 11, the club go into this sort of meltdown reaction kind of mode. You know, we saw it with like some Marko Natovic, and I know I'm going back quite far, but when is there ever interest in players in our starting 11? Not much. Jared Bowen last season gets linked to Liverpool straight away. Articles on likes of Clarendon Hearing that start coming out. Jared's not for sale. It's almost like panic mode a little bit. I've always preferred, I'm almost admired Leicester's stance when going back to Harry Maguire here. It is quite far back. I'm going Aston Villa with Jack Grealish down for a more recent one, which is, well, here's his price. That's the price you pay. You set your price early, you make it quite public what that price is, and you don't accept a penny less. 80 million for Harry Maguire, 100 million for Jack Grealish, and I know there was a clause in that contract, but that's what Aston Villa did with Jack Grealish. So there's your contract, your 100 million. We'll put that in there. If someone offers it, we'll accept it. That's your price. And it's something I wouldn't mind seeing West Ham do with some of our players as well. Just basically saying, this is the price, you want him, you pay it, kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be a bargain. Is it a selling club? Well, surely every club's a selling club. Every player in the world, in my opinion, has a price. We've seen, I know it's a bit recent, but we've seen Messi leave. We've seen Ronaldo leave. Two best players in the world. We've seen them move clubs. So why would anyone else not move clubs? Every player has a price. Therefore, in theory, if you want to say selling Declan Rice makes West Ham a selling club, then every club's a selling club. Simple as that, really. As far as I'm concerned, anyway. I'm never really... I think the tag selling club to me means a club that constantly sells their best player but don't necessarily replace them, like Southampton. When Southampton were churning out good players from the academy, or they were bringing in decent players like Sadio Mane, selling them for a profit, but they weren't necessarily replacing those players adequately. Whereas likes of, I don't know, Brighton, if they sell one of their top players at the minute, they're replacing them pretty easily. All you have to do is have a look at, Cucurella left, that's fine, we'll go get Estupiñán. Bissouma's left, that's fine, Caicedo's ready to step into the first team, we've already planned ahead. Are Brighton a selling club? I don't think so. They're a well-run club. Selling players for profit is part of their model and what they want to do. And I just wish West Ham were a little bit more organised in that sense and welcoming, not welcoming of bids, that's a wrong phrase, that's almost like saying, come on then, come bid for all our players. But they just don't panic. They don't go into this, we shall not sell any player. And actually, what they've actually done with Declan Rice in the last couple of seasons, I think they've got it bang on, West Ham, actually. I really, really do. But before I go any further, This is day 12 of 12 of our 12 days of Christmas, and it's all about the Claret and Blue scarf and matching bobbly hat. You can pick up both today only for £15. Usual price is £10 a piece. So you'll be saving a fiver. If you fancy grabbing yourself a hat and scarf, keeping cosy this winter, head over to the Hammershat store. The link is in the description below. Just add the bundle deal to your basket and it'll be £15. Bish, bash, bosh. Simple as that. Anyway, in regards to Declan Rice, I think the club's actually done really, really well in the last couple of years with Declan and Declan only. I'm not talking about any other transfer here except Declan Rice. A couple of years ago, I will confess, I was resigned to losing Declan Rice over the last couple of summers. I've been impressed he's still here. I am impressed he's still here. But I guess it's easy to hold on to a player when nobody's actually bid for the player. But I think part of the reason there's been no bids is because of how the club have priced Declan Rice very publicly in the last 2 years. A couple of years ago it was sort of 100 million. You want Declan Rice, it's 100 million. There was no suitors. Nobody came along and said, yeah, right, then let's negotiate. There was nothing. Last summer, 150 million. You want Declan Rice, 150 million. Now the club know full well what they're doing. They know nobody's paying 150 million. But what they're simply doing is this. They're publicly putting out their starting point for the negotiations. You want him, you're going to have to get close to that. Anything over 100 million, and then we can have a little chit chat. There's been no clubs that have come forward for him. So the club have done what they wanted to do, which is retain him for as long as possible. And actually, whilst he's going to have 2 years left on his contract in the summer, his value probably hasn't depreciated from the summer just past. And in the summer just past, we've obviously invested big money to try and get, we did get Paqueta and Scamacca in there, try and change the style of play, chase, progress in the Premier League as well as going after winning a European trophy as well. And I guess there would have been an element of hope from West Ham that Declan Rice, that this season would have had to be a miracle in order to keep Declan Rice. But I guess they thought, well, let's throw 180 million at making said miracle happen. It's not going to happen. Even if we have a tremendous second half of the season, we might finish 7th, 8th, but we're not going to get into the top 4 or anything like that, which is possibly what we would have had to do in order to try, with any chance of getting Declan Rice to sign a new contract. But Mark Noble was on TalkSport last week promoting his autobiography. And when he was on TalkSport, he got asked about Declan Rice. And Mark Noble's told us what we already know. He doesn't care about money. He's not interested in money. David Sullivan publicly said, we've offered him 200 grand a week. He ain't signed it. He doesn't want. And do you know something? I admire Declan Rice for that, because it's been easy for him to sign a new deal a couple of years ago, become the best paid player in the squad, and then still have a desire to leave West Ham. Still say, well, I still want to go on and compete for the Premier League title, the Champions League. I want to go win everything. But hang on a minute, we've just made you very, very rich in the last couple of years, and now you wish to leave. So Declan's been on what I consider, it's a lot of money to you and I, but in terms of Premier League wages, it's relatively low. He's not one of the highest earners in the squad or anything like that, because, well, he wants to leave. He wants to go and win trophies. But he's never played like that, in my opinion. I think he's always been, at the start of the season, I think he's pretty poor. There was a couple of games where he didn't really look into it or interested. But certainly in the last few weeks, I think he's really upped his game. I think he's had a real strong month going into the World Cup. Against Liverpool, I thought he was the best player on the pitch, despite us losing. Against Leicester, I thought he was really committed, despite the World Cup just a week away. Despite seeing James Maddison go off injured ahead of the World Cup, he was really committed into tackles and stuff like that. And I think he's given everything. I think he's given everything to this club. And I've got, when he does go, I've got no issues with how he has handled it, because he's always been very honest and very clear. Mark Noble's saying it. That's almost proof to me that there's been conversations between Declan and Mark Noble at least. I'd expect there's been further ones between Declan Rice and the board of West Ham where he stated his intentions, which is, I don't want to stay at West Ham long term. I'll give you everything I can, but eventually I want to go and I want to win titles. I'm never ever going to criticise a player for wanting to go and win trophies. I'm never going to do it. I'm not a chance. Especially in this day and age where there's almost too much money stuff. We're seeing it at the World Cup as we speak. So then when a player then values trophies over money, I'm not going to criticise that whatsoever. But yes, I think the club have handled it pretty well the last couple of seasons, putting the price really high. And I think the timing, like I said, the timing of this news coming out, I think the club have done quite well with that as well, actually. Because like I said, he's away with England at the World Cup. And yes, if you're an England fan watching, you think, oh, Declan could probably do this. He probably could. But the board aren't really... They're interested in what's best for West Ham. And that is, if you are going to put this out there and hopefully start a bidding war, that will be the expectation at West Ham. That's the hopes now. The hopes are put the news out early enough, middle of November. Those clubs that Declan wants to go to will be making their transfer plans for the summer. We all know Liverpool are going to go in the market for a top midfielder, big money midfielder. We know Liverpool's going to be in the market for one. And I think that what this news getting leaked, if it's leaked, you know what I'm trying to say, when the club decide to pop this out there in public domain, they're hoping to spark at least 2, maybe even 3 of those clubs interest in Declan Rice. Say, oh, okay, if he's available and we need a midfielder, well, there's the man. That's who we need. And they're looking to start a bidding war. If this news came out in May, it's too late. Liverpool have possibly decided Jude Bellingham's the one. We're going to have to Jude Bellingham, and that is it. And the more clubs coming out the running for Declan Rice means it could be a one-horse race. You could have Man United sat in front of David Sullivan saying, well, it looks like we're the only one at the table, Dave, so 70 million for Declan. Now, what, 120? Well, there's no one here, is there? It's just us. We'll give you 70 million. Or you keep him and we'll come back next summer and offer you 70 million again. And I think what the club doing, putting this news out now, just saying to Newcastle, saying to Liverpool, Man City possibly Man United, saying Chelsea, of course, Chelsea, I nearly forgot about them, they'll be the ones at the top. Just say to all of them, you want him, get ready and let us know how much you're going to pay, and let's have a little look and see who's got the most money to bring to the table. Because the club need to, our club, West Ham, need to start preparing for their summer as well. They need to know if they've essentially need to replace Declan Rice. Do they have 120 million to spend? Do they have 200 million to spend? What's the budget for going into the summer? We need to know that. And this Declan Rice is a huge cog in there. Makes me a little bit nervous. I will be honest. I am nervous. I don't trust the club to get this right. I think they've done well so far to keep him. But like I said, it's easy to keep a player when there's no bids. It's not difficult. But now it's crunch time. Can you get enough money? Can you get the fee that you desire? Whatever that is. I think 100 million plus. I think the club have done really well to get that. 80 million or less, I'll be disappointed. In between that, it's a 20 million differential. I'm aware there's a big difference here, but it depends on all the clauses and stuff like that as well. In there, I think it depends on where he's going, what the kind of structure of the deal is, and stuff like that as to how happy I am with it. But so today, if we got over 100 million, I think I'd be content with that. So do I trust the club to get that much money? Not really. They give it that, but I'm yet to see them what. Look at Marko Arnautovic. They bottled it. Whenever it comes to selling players, we are rubbish. Look at Nikola Vlasic. Someone stupidly agreed a 12.5 million fee in his loan deal, and now look what's happened. He's doing really well at Torino. They want him. They're almost laughing paying that 12.5 million. We'll have that at half price. Yes, please. I mean, that was a silly thing to do, weren't it? We are poor when it comes to selling players. There's not that many players that look back on in recent years and think we did well getting that much money for that player that has left West Ham. We've done well out of that. Quite often it's the other way around, which is we could have got a bit more for them, or maybe we should have sold them a year ago. Masuaku's leaving next summer. 2 million. I know he's not good, but 2 million for a Premier League left back, poor run at that, like, but 2 million, it's not much, is it? We're not very good at selling, so I don't trust them to get the right money. But B, it's replacing him. Now I know people watching this are going to say, well, Flynn Downs is his replacement. Okay then, well, we're getting a partner for Flynn Downs. However you want to look at it, because I will ask you the question, and I already know the answer. Would you be okay with a centre midfield pairing of Flynn Downs and Thomas Souček next season at West Ham? No, you wouldn't, would you? Nobody would. Of course you wouldn't. How do you replace Declan Rice? You probably can't. So what you're gonna have to do something else instead. Improve 2 or 3 positions. Get a top left back, a top right back. Go out there and get 2, 20, 30 million pound full backs that is going to undeniably boot Cresswell out of the team and Sufal Johnson out of the team as well. Sort your defence out. Get that sorted. You've still got 80 million to spare. Well, probably not. I'm assuming I'm going to get maybe 60 million to spare for a midfielder. That's a lot of money. You can afford 95% or more than that, you can afford 90. But you know what I'm saying, the targets you're after, you can afford all but a handful of them. You'd be able to go get any of them. Of course, there is that unlikely scenario that a part exchange takes place. Calvin Phillips at Man City, we know David Moyes really wanted him. If Man City want Declan Rice, it's because Calvin Phillips hasn't worked out. I mean, it hasn't worked out so far, is it? Injury prone. You could see them coming and saying, well, we'll give you X and you can have Calvin Phillips. Man United with Scott McTominay. Chelsea with, I mean, surely Jorginho or Conte, I can't see them that happening. But you know what I'm saying. It's unlikely part exchange. But anyway, I'll be nervous. I will be nervous because I've got no confidence in the club getting both of those things right. The fee and the replacement. They have to get both right. It is crucial they get both right. If you get one wrong, if you don't get the right fee, replacing them adequately and improving the squad is going to be difficult because you're short of money. Even if you get the fee right, replacing them is a very, very, very difficult job. We will be losing a world-class player. Can we attract a world-class player? Can we identify a world-class player? Can we identify someone that's got the potential to go on and become one? I'm not too sure. If I had this conversation with you a month and a half ago, my answer would have been different. I don't mind admitting this. This is how fickle I am. I'm a football fan. Because a month and a half ago, I thought Scamacca was the best thing since sliced bread. I was looking at our team thinking, bloody hell, Kerr's playing really well centre-back. Scamacca's smashing up front. Paqueta's in glimpses look really good. Looking forward to seeing more of this. Cornet's doing all right. Emerson, yeah, fine. Not going to the team yet. We'll wait and see. Downs is doing well in European football. All our summer signings were looking really promising a month and a half ago. Now, I'm not too sure now. I sit here now thinking about Paqueta, thinking about Scamacca, Kerr at right back, and my answer is a little bit nervous. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, going to leave it there. Obviously, when you're watching this, Declan Rice has played for England. You'll know how he's gone. Hopefully, he's had a really good game, driven that value up a little bit. But yeah, the news is that West Ham are willing to listen to offers for Declan Rice in summer 2023. I guess the expectancy is he won't be at West Ham next season. However, I'd imagine the majority of West Ham fans thought that anyway. It's just confirmation, really. But if you've enjoyed this video, do drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to Hammer's Chat, and get involved in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the subject surrounding Declan Rice. I'll catch up with you tomorrow.